Yeah. So what are some things you've seen people get disqualified from the hiring process?
Yeah, one of the ones that kills me because this is such a great grad. He
Oh,
did,
yeah.
yeah.
Tell
This,
stories. Yeah, we love stories. Yeah.
yeah. He's was a fantastic grad. He ended up getting a job, but I had a grad once. Actually, I'll share two stories about this grad. The first is
Two.
he was awesome, but we sent his resume for an opening, and the employer told us his resume looks awesome, his portfolio looks great, but his GitHub hasn't been updated in 3 months, so I'm not interviewing him. So just because he hadn't been pushing his work to GitHub, the hiring manager didn't want to hire him because to him that meant
Wow.
he wasn't active, he wasn't practicing, and he wasn't really passionate about coding.
Hmm.
So that was a bummer. That same grad, though, I'll say he had an interview for a job at Groupon and he bombed the interview. He bombed it, but he got moved to the next round. And the hiring manager told him, he said, I'm going to move you forward because you didn't give up even though you didn't know the answer, and you kept coming to the table with new solutions. And so he got moved forward to the next round of the interview process strictly because of that, which I think is really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a super awesome story. What do you think are like the top, like maybe three biggest mistakes people make in the interview process? If you could tell everyone, don't do these three things in their entire process, what would they be?
Yeah. The number one is people don't realize how much they underestimate themselves in the interview and how they talk down about themselves and say things like, I'm junior, or I'm still learning, or I'm just switching, or I don't know that much yet. That's literally stuff people say. And I always tell people,
Yeah.
imagine if you go on a blind date and you sit down at the table and you say, oh, I'm surprised you showed up. I'm hideous. I didn't think you were going to come. You would never say
Yeah.
that. So in an interview, it's the same thing. If the first thing you say is, I'm surprised you're interviewing me because I don't know anything, you're not going to get that job. So be aware of drawing attention to the negative. Like instead of focusing on what you don't have, focus on what you do have, what you can offer
Yeah.
them. That's important. Not knowing your projects well enough to talk about them, like really know your projects, be prepared to talk about them. And then the other mistake is just not preparing, not knowing anything about the company or why you want to work there or what technologies they use. That's a big mistake.
Yeah, I've totally seen that. One of my first things I do is when I'm looking at a job, I look at the vision and values and the CEO.
Mm-hmm.
I'll read through all their about us page and stuff like that. Cause it's like, like, for example, I know Amazon will literally ask you questions and say, our value is this. How do you
Mm-hmm.
live this out in your daily life?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're like, I don't, or they're like, why do we want to talk to you? It's over. Good luck, you
Exactly.
know?
Yeah. Yeah. Employers want to hire, they don't want to hire someone who wants a salary. They want to hire someone who is excited about working there. So at Thinkful, I help interview our new coaches that we bring on. And we interviewed a coach once. I'll never forget this. And we asked her, what do you know about Thinkful and why do you want to work here? And she was sitting in a dark room and she paused and we saw her eyes move like to her browser and like type and like colors, like the screen was changing. She was like researching the company in the moment. And I was like, we can't hire this person. They don't actually care
That's so
about this
funny.
company, which is so
Yeah.
important. You have to be passionate about the students. So yeah, that's a big mistake in any industry.